Guess who's back? Back again. J-Rod's back. To do more reviews. Guess who's back? 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 Yes, folks. I'm back. Whew. I'm ready and refreshed to give you guys some awesome reviews today on this episode. Now, as you know, it's already Tuesday Wrestling on this one. Basically, we're just going to keep doing the same old thing with NWA Powerrr and NXT. But also, I decided, what the hell? Let's do Stardom, Legend of Fukuoka Goddesses that took place recently on the 4th of May. Now, sorry it took too long to review that one. I was having some technical difficulties with the internet. But luckily for me, I got everything all straightened out and all this other stuff. But nonetheless, let's get cracking with another episode.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, well, since I'm refreshed, let's get started. We're going to be reviewing, let's review right now Stardom, Legend of Fukuoka Goddess that took place recently on the 4th of May. Now, keep in mind, this is the home territory of three particular wrestlers. One is Maika, Koguma, and Azuki. Now, our opening match is, in fact, the Rumble match. Now, we had like wrestlers like Lady C, Yuna Mizunami, Waka Tsukiyama. I think Xena was in this one. Who else? Oh, yeah, the Machines were there. Of course, so-called Lady, a few others. However, we did see one particular person that was announced was going to be there. That is none other than Suzuki. She somehow ended up being at the last of two wrestlers in the Rumble. So she had to face, of course, none other than Mai Sakurai, putting her in a tequila shot, giving the win. However, once again, ladies, the freaking lady goes out saying all this and telling all commoners and all this. But of course, Suzuki probably thought she's out of her freaking mind. But yes. But is now saying that she will be there, most likely to be in Stardom a lot. Now, our opening match, we have Club Venus, consistent with Jessie and Mariah May, taking on stars consistent of Hana and Mayu Iwatani. This was a very interesting matchup. Now, I know that Mariah May says she may have her sights set on the IWGP Women's Championship, but you have to face against the Icon. You probably can guess there's a lot of things taking place. Luckily for us, this match ended with, of course, Mayu applying the moonsault onto Jessie, and it was over right from there. So you can tell, but there was a moment where Mayu Iwatani was taunting Mariah May, saying, I know you want this. You can't have it. So we'll see what happens from then on. Now, our next match, we feature Oedo Tai, consistent of Ruka and Starlight Kid, taking on Cosmic Angels, Saru Inui, and Tam Nakano. Now, this is the first time, from my understanding, they team up in almost 7 years or so. Because if you guys remember their history, both Saruri Inui and Tam Nakano knew each other from the Atlas Girls days, and that's pretty much how we all remember. But it was very interesting. But not to mention, there is some deep history between both Saruri Inui and Starlight Kid. So basically, they had bump in the head before, the Resident Cat became into the dark side. But nonetheless, it was, of course, Saruri Inui who picked up the win by applying a bridge onto Ruka to give them win. But you can tell the tension that Starlight Kid is not going to let this happen. Try to, let this get away. But sooner or later, we probably will see those two clash. I don't know when, but that's going to be very interesting. But of course, Saturday refuses to do the delicious thing, but that's another conversation for another time. Now, speaking of Oedo Tai, for our next match, we have Momo Watanabe and Natsuko Tora taking on the members of God's Eye, consistent of Konami and Suri. Now, you probably can guess that this is going to be a one interesting matchup because, as you know, only three people in that particular match are strikers. We're talking about Momo, Konami, and Suri. But this was a very interesting one, but it was, of course, Momo with a like a dragon suplex onto Konami to pick up the win. So it was very interesting. We would have thought maybe God's Eye would have walked away as the winners, but no, it was just like that. Next up, we got the members of Queen's Quest, consistent of Saya Kamitani and Utami Hayashida, taking on DDM's Julia and Micah. Now, keep in mind, this is Micah's hometown, so that makes it like home field advantage for her. But it was, of course, the Michinoku Driver 2 that put away Utami Hayashida. But I did, if you guys noticed the recent attitude with Utami, she pushed the camera away out of her face. She seems a little frustrated in some capacity. I think maybe because she wasn't involved in any title match like she probably would have wanted, since this is her hometown. You know, that's something I'm sure that many would have expected, but no. But however, at the post-match comments, we starting to see a little bit of the tensions between both Kamitani and Hayashida. Basically, they're saying it's more like Utami is getting frustrated that Queen's Quest has been on a losing streak. You know we have seen these type of things before, but the real question is this Utami Hayashida's fault, or this is something else? We don't know. Even though Utami feels that Kamitani is accusing her, saying it's her fault, but of course Kamitani doesn't see it that way. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure that maybe the reason there's been losses. I mean, Queen's Quest hasn't been this strong since Momo left the group to join Oedo Tai. So that, to me, I feel that's probably one of the main reasons why they've been like that. But there'll be another conversation when that arises. Now, our first title match that took place is the high speed belt. Mai Sita taking on Azumi. Now, Sita was the one who pinned Azumi at the All-Star Grand Queendom during that tag match, where of course Azumi teamed up with Mei Suruga, and Sita actually teamed up with Starlight Kid. That kind of set the story straight right there to see those two face off. You can say this was going to be a very good, impressive, high-speed match, because I know last year was one of the best ones we've seen with Azumi and Mei Suruga, but nonetheless, it was, of course, the numero uno by Azumi to put away and retain the title, so that's pretty good. Our next match is the Goddesses belts. We have FWC, consistent of Koguma and Azuki, taking on the New Eras of God's Eye, consistent of Amisuri and Mirai. Now, keep in mind, this is a very interesting matchup, because if you guys remember, Mirai and Amisuri did challenge for these belts at least 3 times. The first 2 times was ironically against FWC. First time was a time limit draw. Second time, it was, of course, FWC that walked out as the victors. And then, of course, after FWC lost the belts, they challenged Meltier, which, of course, they lost as well. So this was an interesting development in seeing them now that the roles are reversed. But the obvious question is, will this be any different from the previous times? We know that New Eras have shown how much strong they are together as a team. But it was, of course, Mirai with the jumping lariat that put away Koguma and allowed them to retain the titles. But as soon as the match was over, we entered our post-match, giving, of course, New Eras were doing a little promo. But luckily, apparently, a new pair of challengers stepped up to the plate. And then it's none other than Oedo Tai members Natsuko Tora and Momo Watanabe. You know that they would do anything to get some belts into Oedo Tai. So what better way to do that? I'm sure this match will probably take place on the 27th of May for the Flashing Champions. Now, our main event, we have the Wonder of Stardom, aka the White Belt, Natsupoi versus Mina Shirakawa. Now, keep in mind, Mina won this belt recently back in last month in April at the All-Star Grand Queendom when she defeated Kamitani and nominated Natsupoi. So this is one of those matches that I did mention before. Now, prior before Mina decided to leave Cosmic Angels to go independent with Club Venus, I often did stated that Mina felt that she was the chosen one to be the one to precede this belt. Well, looks like it did. But Natsupoi also had desire to chase this belt. She has challenged for this belt before. One time against Tam, which she lost back in 2021. And then she tried again with Kamitani, which she lost eventually. So now this is another opportunity. But this match had some intensity between these two. You probably can tell that Mina will never forgive Natsupoi for joining Cosmic Angels, but at the same time taking the right hand of Tam Nakano's side, and I think that's always been like that. But luckily, this ended with Mina winning the match by applying the figure four driver and retaining the title. But of course, there was a promo that took place. Mina for sure saying that she will take this belt further and further. But Natsupoi made a vow that she's not going to give up on this belt, that she will win this belt by the end of this year. Now, I did mention this before. I don't think Mina will have the longest reigning championship run. I mean, she will, I have to say, will throw in the best performance as a white belt champion. That's always been what I believe is going to take place. So, will it be the opportunity by the end of this year that Natsupoi could win that belt? Most likely it could happen. All we got to do is wait and see until it happened. But however, at the verge before Natsupoi left, Mina called out Tam Nakano. And now she seems like she's got a little more ambitious than she's ever wanted. Now she's decided to add the red belt to her collection. So she issued a challenge to make this into winner takes all type of match. But of course, you can tell that, Mina is confident enough to believe that she can surpass Tam. Now, Tam often say, the more you try to say you're stronger, the more I'm getting stronger. Tam has always been lived up to that part of her, I mean, the same thing said that she believed with Sakurai Mai, where Sakurai Mai, who has grown so much since leaving Cosmic Angels, she has changed. But at the same time, so has Tam, who has evolved. So what makes Mina think that she could walk away? Now, many people have often spoken, there is no way this match is going to end with one winner. It could end up with a time limit draw. But there are those who are in a small number of people, they often think, okay, Mina could walk away. I highly doubt that. But recently there was a video where backstage comments by Micah right after this event, where she's like saying, what's the matter, guys? You're too afraid to take any challengers? So if I was going to think, if this match does end in a time limit draw, I'm sure Micah would challenge either the white belt or the red belt. That is one of those things I could definitely see taking place. So we'll find out when that day happens. But like I said, I highly doubt that this match is going to end with one walking away with two belts. Even Mina mentioned she would like to have the IWGP Women's Championship, but we'll see what that takes place. So I think that's pretty much it right now with Stardom. So let's move on with NWA Powerrr. Okay, NWA Powerrr opened up with the NWA World Television title on the line. This is where we have Tom Latimer puts his belt on the line against someone he has faced before, who has been playing mind games with him the entire time. We're talking about our current National Heavyweight Champion, EC3. Now, this match can only go on to 6 minutes and 5 seconds. Now, this match went in with a lot of intensity for this one, but however, this match ended exactly what it should have been, a time limit draw. However, there was dissatisfaction, despite the fact that the match ended in 6 minutes and 5 seconds. Tom Latimer retains the title, but however, he's been demanding to go another extra 5 minutes. But however, Billy Corgan said no, they cannot exceed any more further, so the match ended like that. Many fans are not pleased with this time limit draw, but it is what it is, and the boss already made the call. Now, our next match, we have Yabo the Clown taking on Ricky Morton. Now, you probably can guess that Yabo the Clown, who looks more like a sadistic clown, would try to do some tricks. So, the face against the guy of rock and roll. So, but I was deeply shocked that he defeated Ricky Morton by using the ropes, by pinning. The ref didn't see it. I'm sure Ricky Morton will definitely get payback for what this clown did. Even his son Kerry, who wasn't even by his side, he's by what just happened. I wouldn't be surprised if he has to face that guy, but we'll see what happens then. Now, our next match, we have an interview. We have interview with May Valentine, with Aaron Stevens, and of course Blunt Force Trauma. Same old propaganda and all this other stuff. Now we go to another interview on the ring with Kyle Davis, where he talks to Bully Ray. Now, there was things that went tensions between Bully Ray and Tom Latimer. So basically, he apologizes publicly to what he did. But however, this guy Daisy Kill, who just shows up randomly, tries to squeeze himself in. So he ended up in a big match, in a match against them. But luckily, this match ended real quickly with a slam and winning. But Bully Ray did a little concert performance, you know, having a little bit of fun, which there's nothing wrong with it. But Bully Ray walked out as the winner. Now, our next interview we have is May Valentine with Kenzie and Kylie, the Page sisters. Kenzie announced that she'll be participating in the NWA 75 event. Now, I'm sure that she believes that she will probably have the opportunity to challenge for the NWA Women's Championship. But however, I'm sure she has already one win in this particular one. She needs to win 6 in order to have that. So if she's planning to go for that belt, she needs to do that. Now, her sister Kylie is treating this like a legacy thing and all that, but we'll see about that too. Now, another interview with May Valentine. We have Zion, who, in the other hand, he hasn't been the same since losing the National Heavyweight Championship. He said he's already done listening to Tyrus, done listening to his own dad, Austin Idol, and many others. So this time we're going to see the Zion we expected for a long time. So that is something we're definitely going to be looking forward to it. Now, our main event, we have Blunt Force Trauma, Carnage and Damage, taking on the newly tag team of Tyrus and Chris Adonis. I have to say this match was pretty good, but however, I knew that weasel Aaron Stevens was going to get involved, but he ended up on the wrong side of the master lock. He was not even the legal man, neither was Adonis, but Tyrus took out Damage, Blunt Force Trauma outside the ring, ended up in a double countout. So I have to say, they may not have won the match, but I think it was a good warm-up to show they're not playing around. And I don't know what Aaron Stevens is going to think. He thinks that... I know Stevens did have some issues towards Tyrus, but I think right now this is going to be a very interesting one. We know that Tyrus did say that he picked Adonis as his tag partner for the Crockett Cup. We'll be seeing that soon enough. I think we are ready to be ordered for the Crockett Cup on Fight TV if you guys are interested. So we'll just wait and see what happens. I think that's pretty much it with NWA Powerrr. I believe it's time for NXT. Alright, NXT. Now, as you know, recently last week, we saw Indy Hartwell relinquished her title. Now, we do know she has been picked up to go to the main roster, but due to what happened a while back, she got injured and all this and that. However, she made the decision to relinquish the title, but Shawn Michaels issued a tournament to determine a brand new NXT Women's Champion. We already know it's going to be already the 8 that were picked by Shawn Michaels himself. Tiffany Stratton, Gigi Dolan, Roxanne, Kiana James, Cora Jade, who else? Lyra Valkyria. I'm trying to think of someone else involved in this one. Oh yeah, Fallon Henley, and I forgot who else. So possibly JC Jane is one of them. So that's pretty much what's going to happen. Now, we had our first round matches taking place. Our first one we feature is Tiffany Stratton versus Gigi Dolan. Now, Tiffany Stratton, we all know, if you guys have been watching for weeks now, she felt that that belt should be hers right away, knowing that she is the true center of the attention. She faces Gigi Dolan, but however, Tiffany Stratton walked out as the winner when she applied the moonsault, giving her the win. Now, she could be one of the potentials that could walk out as the NXT Women's Champion. Now, the next thing we see is at the haircut place, at the barbershop, Trick Williams having a little conversation, not only with the fellas, but also with Carmelo Hayes, saying that he is, for what he did stepping up to get onto Braun Breaker, this is something he felt that he needs to do alone, even though Carmelo Hayes knows Braun Breaker too well, so he is giving him the vote of confidence that he can pull it off. Next up, we got the NXT Tag Team titles. The Dyad, Rip Fowler and Jagger Reed has finally had an opportunity to take on the Gallus. However, the X factor in this match is Ava Raine, who gets involved in this. Now, you probably would have thought the Dyad would have had an opportunity to walk away as the tag champions, but however, Ivy Nile, who had it up to here with Ava Raine, attacked her, causing the distraction for the Dyad, but in the process giving Wolfgang and Mark Coffey the opportunity to put away Rip Fowler and bam, retaining the titles. But the obvious thing is, what will, of course, Joe Gacy think, since he wasn't even present? I'm sure that he will say, Ava Raine, if you're going to go for payback, go for it. But we'll see what happens until then. Now, in the backside, we see Thea Hale and the members of the Chase University having a little conversation until Javier Bernal gets involved in that, asking her, how come you're not involved in that women's tournament? However, Duke Hudson shows up, the defender, but he decided, you know what, I'm going to teach you a lesson. So it became a match between those two, but Duke Hudson was the one who walked out as the victor when he applied a somewhat of the Razor's Edge onto him, winning the match. Now, recently we have seen Von Wagner opened up to Mr. Stone about his heritage, about his past. However, there is one photo that apparently Mr. Stone is stumbled upon that Von Wagner refuses to talk about. However, some knucklehead decided to get under the skin of Von Wagner and all this and that. But I think there's something about this photo that Mr. Stone needs to understand, that he wants to know about, like understand Von Wagner, who he is, that sort of thing. Even though Von Wagner doesn't want to talk about it, Stone will stop at nothing to try to understand more about him. Now, our next match, we have Eddie Thorpe versus Damon Kemp. Now, Damon Kemp, as you know, since Eddie Thorpe arrived in NXT, he's been treating him, saying, oh, that he's like a young boy, that sort of thing. But Eddie Thorpe has made headways, if you follow his history from Japan and all this other locations. But it was an amazing pinfall by Eddie Thorpe to pick up the win. I wouldn't be surprised if Damon Kemp would refuse to let it go. But if I was Damon Kemp, I would take some notes, realize, do not underestimate Eddie, of course, Eddie Thorpe for this. Now, however, as you know, the Gallus boys retain the titles. Appears that, you know, they have an interest in, kind of have a little interest of Ivy now for what she did. But, you know, she did it because she had it with Ava Raine. But you probably can guess that probably the Creed brothers would like to have another opportunity of the tag titles. But that's for another conversation, for another time between these two teams. Now, we do get a little interesting interview with Kiana James, who is part of the tournament. Her opponent is Lyra Valkyria. She feels like, you know, this tournament is a bunch of crap due to the ways that they were picked up, who's involved. So, that sort of thing. So, we'll get to that in a bit. Our next match, we have Ilya Dragunov taking on Dijak. This became one of the most brutal matches you get to see. Now, Dijak would do anything to say that there is an injustice being done here, saying that, you know, Dragunov, who loves pain, loves to be like that. We've seen how he is. But, however, Dijak used the chair to disqualify himself out of this match, but continued the onslaught on Dragunov one way or the other to make him, you know, feel more pain. I think right now Dijak should not underestimate Dragunov, no matter what he does. But yeah. Now, Um, Next up, we see a little thingy between both Tyler Bate and Wesley. Now, Tyler Bate is in a match against Charlie Dempsey, and all does that keep in mind it was Tyler Bate that did help Wesley to retain the title after Charlie Dempsey got involved. However, while Wesley was outside supporting Tyler Bate, apparently Joe Gacy showed up. It appears that he has an interest of the North American title, but Drew Gulak, who feels that, hey, what are you doing? Like, he feels that Joe Gacy had no business to be there, but Tyler Bate wiped both of them out. However, because of distraction, it did give Charlie Dempsey the opportunity to steal the win and like that. But however, it's still unclear. I'm not sure if Joe Gacy really is aiming for the North American title. We know he has challenged for the NXT title in the past, so that we will see what happens on that. Now, our next interview, we have Dragon Lee. Now, he's getting fed up with Noam Dar. He preceded him as a threat, but however, Noam Dar cut his interview involved with a message saying that he's bringing back the Supernova sessions. So basically, there's that. So we'll see how this one turns out with them. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting one. We have Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs teaming up, taking on Hank Walker and Ted Ledger. I feel these guys are similar in some ways, but I have to say this woke up Brooks Jensen since the whole thing with Kiana James and that. I think something has awakened in Jensen to give him back and to put him back in his winning ways. So it was very good. But I wouldn't be surprised that all four of these men will form like some sort of a group. I mean, it would be cool to see it, Now, our next match, part of the Women's Championship Tournament, we have Kiana James versus Lyra Valkyria. I think many fans probably are made up their mind who would win this one. I thought the same thing too. It was Lyra Valkyria with that roundhouse kick that put away Kiara James, and she advances. She is part of the B bracket, or one of the bracket upside of Tiffany Stratton. So I forgot who will be involved in that, but we'll see until next week. Now, once again, the D'Angelo family has made another play for the tag belt, but Gallus, on the other hand, seems a little interesting, but they'll figure out another way to get the attention. So we'll just wait and see when we get there. Now, our main event features Trick Williams versus Braun Breaker. Now, Trick Williams, we know he has the ability to pick up a good win, but when it comes to an animal like Braun Breaker, he's unleashed. He will try to break you in half, which he did with the camel clutch, allowing him to win. But once the match was over, he continues his spree to hurt more on Trick Williams, but luckily Carmelo Hayes shows up for the save. Even then, he tried to springboard off the ropes to try to do something, but he got speared right by Braun Breaker, giving him the advantage, saying that he is coming for the title again. So we'll see what happens more next week. This is going to be interesting to see what this new version of Braun Breaker can do. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for NXT. Let's move on with some news updates. Okay, here's our news updates that we have for everyone. This is a bit of a short one. Our first one we have is, of course, for the West Coast Pro event Kid Zombie. It was announced that Brian Keith will be in a match to take on Kevin Knight. So this is the first time I think they meet up, so this is going to be interesting. Now, All Japan Pro Wrestling wrestler Suwama has made the announcement that he has a pair of body bags to put people inside. He's targeting certain wrestlers that he's discriminating, such as Tatsuji Fujinami, Tetsuya Naito, and of course the eel herself, Unagi Sayaka. So that's going to be interesting to see. So this war between him and Unagi is not even over just yet. So I think he's still fighting, annoyed by her. Now, as you know, we have the Flashing Champion taking place real soon on May 27 by Stardom. This is what we do know that is gonna happen. Let me pull it up real quick. So we do have, of course, a tag team match. We have Sudi and Aya Sakura will be teaming up to take on Ram Kaicho and Maika Ozaki. Saya Ida and Momokogo, who returns after being injured at the All-Star Grand Queendom. They take on Lady C and Miyu Amasaki from Queen's Quest. Utami Ishida, Saya, and Ina will be Queen's Quest will be taking on the members of Oedo Tai, Starlight Kid, Ruka, and Rina. And then, of course, we have Stars versus Club Venus. That's going to be interesting. I think that's going to be. I think we're going to see that real well. And then we have, of course, Maika, Zuzu Suzuki, Mei Sira taking on Nanane, Takahashi, Yuna, and Hanako. And then, of course, the artist belts will be on the line. We have Restart will be defending their first defense against DDM's consistent of Julia, Maika, and Mai Sakurai. The high-speed title will be in a three-way match. Azumi will defend it against Saki Kashima and Fukigen Death. And then, of course, we have the Goddess belts. Mirai and Ami Sori have their second defense against Oedo Tai, Momo, and Natsuko Tora. That's going to be interesting. And, of course, we have the double champion match. Tam Nakano and Mina, red belt versus white belt. Winner take all, that sort of thing. But like I did say before, I highly doubt that that match will end up with one winner. Many fans have already spoken. This one could end up in a time limit draw. So that is something it could be expected. But we just got to wait and see until we get there. And I think that's pretty much it right now with everything else. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we have AEW Dynamite. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to be reviewing before then, but I'll keep everybody in mind. I'm still a little bit behind with GCW and also the recent Wrestling Revolve for event for Mayhem All or something like that. But so yeah, we'll see what happens. So for now, we'll just leave it at that. And I'll see you guys on the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.